Everybody, how are you doing? Good to see y'all. It says that Trina, it says that we're live. So
It says
I
we're
am
live.
going to make the assumption that we're not being limited in our bandwidth. So we're live. How are you, Miss Trina?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Well, living in the twilight zone, I have to say
Totally.
that. Yeah, it's
Yes.
totally. Let me just say hello to all y'all fine people out there. Welcome. Let me just invoke favor upon you. Someone said, had the gall and the audacity to write to me and say, "How dare you invoke favor?" I went, dude, man, lighten up.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, man. I mean, whatever the caffeine is, kind of cut it down by 50.
That's so funny. I just heard it's like he is so not in resonance with favor that like stung him. And it's like,
Boom.
thank you for showing me your fear and your pain because wow, if
Yeah.
favor can affect you that way, you got some work.
Man, and I'll tell you that's more than a remodel job, man. I mean,
Right. That's what I'm saying. You really got some work.
woof. So we just invoke favor on everybody, and glad to have y'all here. Thank you, moderators, and so good to see the house filling up. Big Al is out. He says hello. Uh, well, Trina says hi too.
Yeah.
Big Al, think about you often. Man, there's just a lot of people in here today, Miss Trina.
Yay. I love you guys so
We
much.
all thank you so much. So good to see you.
Mhm.
T-Cat, thank you. This is the summer of healing. Remember that, folks.
Yeah.
Put the digital flower, because in this day, Trina, where we're now practicing social distancing, and I'm proud that this channel practices social distancing. So, I mean, you're only about 500, 700 miles away. And
Right.
yeah,
Right.
so
We are definitely following rules.
I think so. So this is the new standard now. So I'll send the memo to the White House, but
Yeah. The new weird norm.
oh boy, I tell you, so Denver at 5 o'clock tonight goes on lockdown.
Wow.
Shelter in place. Interesting term, isn't it? Shelter in
What
place.
does that mean exactly? Does that mean like you're curfewed, but you can still go out from but like for here they're saying 10 to 6, like still mobile for,
Yeah, I mean, I
emergencies?
think this is all code words for, we're going to cramp down on your asses and, the troops in the street. But no, what I think it means, at 5 o'clock, you can't go out anymore. You are allowed to go to the parks. However, the playgrounds are not open. And the police will, in fact, break you up if there's more than two, not six
Okay.
anymore. It's two.
Okay. Okay.
So they initially, in the mayor's order yesterday, was all liquor shops, stores, and pot shops would be closed. Trina, in literally 15 minutes, whole freaking Denver went freaking nuts. Um, Lines around the liquor stores, buying out all the pot, all the marijuana.
Hmm.
And it took 90 minutes for the mayor's office to amend that rule and say, well, we'll exempt liquor stores and pot shops. So, but
Yeah.
now the governor today has clamped down even further. You can't go into, for instance, a marijuana dispensary. They do drive-by, roadside pickup. Um, Only medical marijuana
Mhm.
people that have a license, like I do,
Mhm. Mhm.
are allowed in, but nobody's going. It's like, I don't know. So yeah, people
Mhm.
really panicked when the booze and the pot was going to be cut off.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
know, my big concern, Trina, is that a lot of people don't practice meditation. They don't practice what we do here.
Yeah.
And my wife and I were talking about this. Um, I give another weekend
Mhm.
before we start seeing trouble in the streets.
Yeah, I've been looking at so many different layers of this and all the ways you look at it, it's a little bit concerning. It seems like there's something much bigger getting ready to take place that is the true of what's really going on. It's like this is going to be just a tidal wave of like one thing after another. But Yeah, I know, this week, I guess they're gonna be doing emergency drills on the Cascadia fault line, falling earthquake scenario
I
in
tell you what bothers
California
me.
this week in June. Yeah, so,
Yeah.
normally when they do these emergency drills, something pretty significant happens.
Well, I follow the press conferences, and Friday was the one that sent the red flags everywhere for me. When Mike Pompeo was at the podium and he said, and I got the video. Um, in fact, why don't you allow me to pull this up? Because I
That
think
would be
people need to
great.
be aware of
Yeah.
this. Because folks, this is not about fear. It's nothing like that at all. What we're dealing with is something that um, is disturbing. I mean,
Mhm.
so allow me to stop this, pause this. Okay. So this came from a website. I think Jerry did it. You'll see what it is. And allow me to shrink this.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
there's something's brewing and it feels bigger than a cold, you know?
yeah, I have to
So
say,
that's my underlying. It's like I think we need to start looking a little bit outside of the box of what's being presented.
yes. So bring everybody up to date. This was Friday. This is Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State. And of course, Dr. Fiucci, he's gone. Um, he he is not agreeing with what Trump is saying, but in any case, this is what got me, and I'll play it so everybody can hear it. Here we go. But I want you to listen again. This time I have a little better sound, and I want you to pay very close attention to what he says. Pompeo says this is a live exercise.
Yeah.
Here in the background is Donald Trump saying, "You should have let us know." So again, I'm going to let it play over a couple times so you can hear it. It's very interesting. Take a listen. This is not about retribution. This matters going forward. We're in a live exercise here to get this right. We need to make sure that even we're in a live exercise here to get this right. You should have let us know. Live exercise here to get this right. We're in a live exercise here to get this right. We're in a folks, this is deep, deep, deep. It's troubling, very, very troubling, because what
Hey, Wayne,
Pompeo is saying that this is martial law.
does that flag have a fringe on it?
Yes, it does. Always does. You know why?
I was gonna say
The-
I didn't see it, but I was like, did that change? Okay, it
yeah,
was there.
yeah. If
Okay.
that ever happens, then then it's all gone to hell in a handbasket. But so here we have this dude coming out, Secretary of Defense. Yeah, is Pompeo defense or state? Either case, you can see that the president himself is not being informed about what's going on. And and they have to broadcast. They can't just simply do this. There's apparently a big
Mhm.
penalty if you do something you don't warn people about it. So here's Pompeo sitting there, and Wayne, the flag has no trim. It does. It does. I know what you're saying, but it does.
Okay.
Because if it didn't, folks, just give it up then. But a live exercise. Now that's code for military operations. I have the documents that actually show that this is something that has been planned.
Yeah.
They're implementing it piece by piece. So anyway, where we go, there we go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's strange.
It's so like 2030, like step by step.
And by the way, I want to just put this out there. I had a long discussion with someone. He was trying to play chess with me, but when you play chess with a master, you're going to get beat. And he did get beat. So let me just put some, because I get a lot of stuff now, because we're a lot of people are interpreting this as the end times, that we're in the breaking of the seals, and that the apocalypse and judgment is upon us.
Mhm.
I got one question for all of you who believe in that mindset. So your God is a Hebrew God. That's where it came from.
Mhm.
Yet you're telling me that a character named Lucifer, which is Latin, is running everything. How did a Hebrew believe in a Latin name that didn't exist for 2,000 years?
Mhm. Bingo.
Any of you geniuses want to answer that one? Because it doesn't exist. Anyway, I'm sorry, Trina. It just I'm getting literally these emails are just,
Yeah. It's, it's crazy. It's like people are breaking the God spell. And boy, when that happens, it snaps them sideways. And I get it. I've been through it. You've been through it.
oh
And
yeah.
it's a rough pony to ride. Mm. Yeah.
Indeed, that pony ain't even broke.
Yeah, it's like, oh boy, it's saddle up and
Woo,
strap on because it's gonna
baby.
get bumpy. Yeah,
Give me the ice pack now.
yes, yeah. So it's like, it's like I see that happening and it's like, oh, I feel such compassion because, oh, I get it. I've been through that. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Or, yeah,
Yeah,
because it just goes against every one of your programs,
it does. Yeah, I get
every one of them, and it just sets off every single trigger. It's a complete conundrum to rewire the brain with
it.
all those programs. It's shocking to your system. And this is what I see what's happening in the world.
Yeah, yeah, that's
A
exactly what's
full
happening.
on reboot.
You
And
know,
it's reconnecting to spirit.
and this is just my, kind of interpretation. I'm seeing all of these religious symbols being broke by nature.
Yes.
And I
Yep.
fully expect to see something in the Islamic world, it tumbling as well. They're
Yeah.
all being dethroned.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, that video that was out, I know a number of channels had it. I think that
Mm.
Derek had it. No, there was a couple of others. We all missed the point. And now we're seeing it. And to think that they have designed a virus that actually will deactivate or activate the God virus.
I was wondering if this was what was going on. And when you showed that video, you confirmed what I was thinking.
There hasn't been a chemtrail over my house in the last couple of days, but folks,
Me
now we're
neither.
seeing all the saturation that they were doing for the last couple of years. Could it be that this is what they were actually basically indoctrinating us with?
I think they were trying.
I think they were trying to.
That's it.
It's
This is a spiritual shift. And
yeah,
this is what they fear the most because boy, when we connect to the spirit and the soul as one and marry the two, oh, they know. Oops, crap. So
it's
this
like,
is
oh man, they
desperately,
figured it out.
yeah. So
Yeah.
with this new thing that they want to do, I think that's got this thing in it to stop you be able to hear spirit and God. Literally, it will shut off that part of your brain.
Apparently it can be done. And
Oh, it can be done.
yeah,
I've seen the research on that and it's solid. And I've also seen too what they did with the gay bomb. They did the same thing with the same thing that made you homosexual.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen the science behind that too, and it was profound. And it works in animals, it works in humans. Yeah.
Kind of makes you really think about this. I mean, it shows that what's interesting is the presenter was showing, and those were military generals sitting in that room, just to
Yes.
give everyone background. This
Hmm.
was, anyway.
High level
Um,
science.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, it was way up there.
Yeah.
And you know, when he stated that there are two sets of humans on this planet, those that have the ability for spirituality and those that don't.
That makes
That's a
sense to me.
profound statement.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense with all the NPC stuff and all of that, and the cloning, all of it. That would
Yeah.
make so much sense to me. Mhm. Yeah.
It it
Mhm.
I had a lot of people writing saying, well, do you think this is real or not? Listen, apparently it's real in Spain. Apparently it's real in Italy. I mean, Spain announced they're turning their one of their largest skating rinks into a morgue.
Yeah.
12,000 deaths overnight. I mean, wow.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know. I
Yeah, I
just don't
just
know.
I saw some interesting research today that was talking about how the previous influ, the last vaccinations a lot of people
Hmm.
received, that one uh, was really good at preventing the flu, but it actually inhibited or prevented you to not be able to fight off this
I
type.
did a video on that. Yeah, it's called
Yeah,
virus
that's like
interference.
I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I was shown,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
this was a piggyback. And it's like all that I was shown, it's like the science is coming out and explaining it. It's like, wow.
Well, I mean, the video that was posted yesterday and the one I did on Saturday with the National Institute of Health of all things, but the Pentagon one really got me because he said, and I read there's part two to that. There is a whole another 12 minutes of documents that the person just shows, 30 pages of them. And
Yeah.
I was reading it last night, and it's real interesting.
Mhm.
They actually designed this, number one, to be part of the rhinovirus, the novel virus,
Yep.
coronavirus.
Yep.
Um, and they said that they could do several things. They could attach it to influenza.
Hmm.
They could do it by aerosol,
Hmm.
and they could do it by misting.
Yep.
Wow, that gives you the creeps.
I know.
I
I
mean,
know. Though, it's like I said, that this is the time when, um, Wayne, as well as I do, people can heal. You've seen
oh
it,
yeah.
miracles. It's just snap. It's done. Snap. It is done. It's amazing. I think this is the call. This is like the testing. It's like, can you become what you are? Can you really tap in to what you are?
Yes, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
Because if you tap into what you are, the virus can touch you and you'll explode it with your field.
Listen, I was saying this yesterday, and I got a couple of emails, and thank you, by the way. There was one in particularly who also had studied under Kenneth Hagin, as I did.
Good.
And, as the one thing that I tried to, and the person she wrote, and she said, yeah, she says, I know exactly what you mean now. She's awakened.
Yes.
These are powerful principles.
Yes.
The laying on of hands is a physical point of contact that
Powerful.
anyone can do,
Yeah.
doesn't have to be religious,
Nope.
and healing will take place.
Yeah. I swear the most powerful healing I've ever been able to bring through my body to help activate people literally came from gratitude.
Mm, powerful.
Just thank you and expecting it. Thank you for the healing. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you is a very powerful vibration.
You said something very important, Trina, as you always do on these shows. A lot of people watch them just for the fact that here, but you see, you said something that is so freaking, it's like, folk, this is one of the key words for the day: expecting.
Mhm.
Now, when I used to work these large healing crusades, and they had all sorts of diseased people there, we would spend an hour with these people preparing them
Yeah.
to expect.
Yeah.
They came with expectancy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what my job was to minister to them before they went out and saw Brother Hagan in going in the healing line.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, I saw freaking miracles.
Absolutely. You're setting the fulcrums. You're
Yeah.
literally holding the space and creating the window for their healing to take place. And if they believe it, they'll activate it. It's a beautiful partnership.
It truly is. I mean,
Mhm.
we could have used, Mickey Mouse's name.
Yes.
We could,
Yeah.
and if that's what people were projecting, that, Mickey
Yeah.
Mouse, when I said, and lay my hands upon you, in Mickey Mouse's name, rise and be healed,
Yeah.
you would see people rise and get healed.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And if you use Dumbo, you'd see some fly.
you could. I'm
Yeah.
telling you. I
It's
mean,
that way.
yeah,
It's what
yeah.
we believe. It's what we imagine. And We put the limitations onto what can be because based upon our belief systems, we can shatter those constructs.
And the only ones that never did receive nothing, I heard one fella in particular say, he said, well, I really didn't believe in this to begin with.
That's why, yeah,
You got exactly what you came for then.
exactly. You got
Unbelief.
proof. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
exactly.
you know,
Proof that I can't have it. Proof that
yes.
everybody else
Yeah.
can, but I can't receive it. That's what that says to me.
Well,
Say,
these,
wow, why would you short yourself out like that, dude? Wrong.
yeah,
Man, I want a
exactly.
whole bunch of that. I'd be like, saying, oh, I want to jump right on that board and write it because that feels really great. Yeah, you're missing out. Bummer.
Someone said, no, I mean, I know they're messing with my channel. Hello, Kaz Hawk. She's going to be on tomorrow, by the way.
Yay.
Do you know Kaz is,
I have seen that.
yeah, the composer. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Gary
Yes.
Bacter says, you infidel. Someone says it's what I call self-mind control. It really is, though. I mean, I learned these principles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, as we've all been, we're all mind controlled right now through the television. It's told us the vision. So, yeah, we're
Shut
already
that
under.
off, by the way. Shut it
Huh?
off. I'm just telling people, shut that television off.
Yeah,
It's
because that
telling
is
you the
like,
vision.
yeah, it's literally we're projecting this reality through an agreement. So the agreement is through the television. So
My wife had a friend, and it was so true. She says, I can't watch this stuff anymore. She said, and she's not really awake. She said, this shit is driving me batshit crazy.
yes,
That's what she said, literally.
yes,
Yeah.
that's I'm telling you, I stopped years ago watching it because it literally I could feel how it would drop my frequency.
Oh, like a lead balloon.
It was unbelievable. And my kids, thank God they're pretty drawn to positive stuff. So, they'd be watching Disney and stuff. And of course, we all
Well,
know the
hello,
magic.
mom.
Yeah, the magic that's in that too. But you know what
Exactly.
though? You know what I when you understand this that long ago, I was like, this is actually the best part of this world. So I need to teach my kids that they are magical and have them know that, you need to work your magic for good, and literally, you can mold these belief systems on top of the reality because
Yeah.
yeah, because you have evidence of it show up in your world.
That's what I love about the reading we're doing. I think about what
Yeah.
ML is saying. It's like,
Yes.
he's like he said yesterday in the reading, we're kind of figuring out, when are you guys going to figure this out, that you can do this too,
Remember, I told you the Lord always told me, remember, you guys came here to be like Jesus, which was a metaphor for a way of being
It's a conscious state of consciousness.
and know the abilities, the
Mhm.
healing, the walking on water, the making loaves of bread, all that stuff, all of it.
Isn't it amazing,
And that's what
Trina,
he said. He said certain people will be able to manifest materially, certain people will be healers, certain people, he was like, all have these different aspects of this Christ ability, and they'll start expressing it. And that was the Joseph and the coat of many colors. And that was when the rainbows would start coming out of the people.
yeah, I agree with that. Unfortunately, I think religion has hijacked those
Oh yeah.
states of consciousness. I mean,
Oh yeah.
because
That
if
was
you
so
mention
on
Joseph,
purpose.
yeah,
That was so on purpose. So we would
yeah,
never understand the truth. And like the getting eaten by the whale, that's about going into yourself for the 3 days of darkness. That's going into your own self.
yeah, yeah,
It's like
yeah.
everything's been turned around. It's like so screwed up. But that's what we came here to do, is to activate these powers that we have within us that are innate. They're naturally born within you.
I think the challenge will be, Trina, is before most people will reach that state, and I'm including myself, there is so much deprogramming because,
Oh yeah.
the world was not created by a Jewish God, but
Mm-mm.
it is the overwhelming perception that that's where all spirituality leads. And I've been having some really pretty, you know, um, interesting exchanges on the emails with a couple of people because they can't get out of the construct that when they think they hear these names, like you just said, Joseph,
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're immediately going back to the Hebrew history.
Correct.
But what they don't understand is what Emil was trying to say yesterday. Everything that you have written in that fairy book, the Bible, understand it took place here
Yes.
before it ever took place there.
Yes. Yes.
People aren't getting it. It
And
completely has gone over their heads.
yeah, because the people aren't understanding the fact of our multidimensional selves. We need to understand the unseen is the most powerful part of you.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
we have to connect with that. But it's just like, okay, so they've set us up to pray outside for God. And it's like, no, you have to be able to vibrate this being in a specific resonance to connect to your true higher aspects of you, which are so high in vibration, you can't have access to them until you can come to some kind of a match. So the only way you can access God is through your own self. So
Bingo.
everybody's been completely, utterly disappointed in this whole
Mm.
God thing. It's like, why hasn't God done this and saved me? And it's like, well, duh, because the whole time we've had it backwards. And that was done on
Thank you.
purpose.
Yeah, thank you.
That was totally done on
Yeah.
purpose to take our power away. So they're using our creative powers in a backwards opposing faction. So the energy is never going to be in alignment. And then they're using all of our programs through the television, having us create their world.
Bingo. Bingo.
It's
It's
completely ludicrous.
Isn't it interesting? And I didn't get many comments. I didn't get a lot of views, but so, and all the other channels that talk about manifestation, why aren't they talking about how did this manifest?
Hmm.
I'm not hearing that conversation.
And that's what we need to look at. It's like, how did we get to where we are? It's like, it's real simple when you look at it. You know what
S-
else too has been coming into my consciousness? Okay, they're like, keep it simple. I'm like, okay, okay. And they keep showing me that we were sitting in the red chakra. And I think we're going to shift into a new chakra. And I don't know if it's orange or if it's going to be blue. So we're going to move into a different part of the body, which would make sense, moving into a different part of the galaxy. This is all matching. And I do wonder, because the information from the child said make the two into amber. Yellow and orange make amber or gold.
mhm.
So I wonder if that's the new frequency that we're supposed to be moving into and towards, which is so funny because yellow and oranges are all the colors of the Christ consciousness and favor.
No, I see that, and that's why
Yeah.
I contend that we can alter this manifestation. I mean,
Yeah, so I think they're trying to keep us in the red chakra with all this fear because they don't want to let us go.
mhm.
Hmm.
I mean, again, something manifested this.
Yeah. And like I said, to go to the extreme to try to alter the mind where you can't connect with your own spiritual faculties anymore, that's pretty extreme. That means that they're very scared they're losing soul.
They're I think they're definitely running scared.
Oh, because yeah,
It
yeah, we're starting to understand what's precious and that's what's within you. And don't let anything take over that which is inside of you.
it'd be interesting if you heard, some bureaucrats actually address the spiritual component to this because there is a heavy spiritual component to this. I mean,
There is.
I really see that dichotomy of belief systems here.
Hmm.
Those who believe in the fear factor
Hmm.
are falling for this thing. I mean, it's brought their vibration so low.
Oh, yes. I'm seeing that. Yeah.
Yes, and it's going to start, and that's why I'm saying that for those of us who look at this as an opportunity.
Yeah. And I work, with people that have a lot of money tied up into these systems.
Mhm.
Yeah. You can see the utter sheer panic.
Well, there's good reason. I mean, in one aspect, I had to talk to someone on Sunday, literally talk them off from,
I know.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yep.
I
I
can see
mean,
this. Yeah. I told
uh,
one of my friends, I says, you need to understand this is very real what he's experienced right now. Very,
oh
very
yeah,
real. I says, so you need to have a lot of compassion right now. I know
yeah.
he's not being a very nice person to be around right now, but this is real and this is really going to affect, livelihood. So he's
Fear.
having a meltdown right now because he's looking at the potentials and he's freaking out. I said, but he's justifiable in this. You're gonna have to help him through this freak out mode because it's just real.
Yeah, I mean,
It happens. Yeah.
fear activates a lot of powerful energy, and um,
Yeah.
yeah, and as I had to tell this person, I said they had literally lost. Let me just put it in the tens of millions.
Yeah. Hmm.
Gone,
Overnight.
gone.
I know. I
All
know.
they had was in their bank account, which most people don't realize. Wealthy people don't have a lot of cash.
No, it's
No,
all tied up in assets and
it's all
bonds
in
and
assets.
stocks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And
Yeah.
it was very real. And I said, listen, I said, and this is what I tell worriers. You're so disciplined in projecting a future that you're not realizing that how much energy and how good you really are at projecting the negative, the fear.
Oh
And I
gosh,
said,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, my wife, and she will admit this, was one
Mhm.
time she'll tell you I was a professional worrier.
Oh yeah.
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 She would
I
lay
know a
awake
lot
at
of
night.
people like that. I
Yeah.
know a lot of people like that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
y'all don't understand. That's putting that into our world.
It is. It is.
Because we're creating all the time. I mean, even by default, even if you're stressed out and you're worried, it's affecting the world. And it's like this has got to be the focus is staying balanced within yourself. This is going to be the greatest rewards you can ever have is staying focused and calm in times of chaos or transition because we need to be the strength because we can affect everyone with the calm
Mm.
because fear is going to be palatable, but we have to anchor the calm in the storm because we're going to need it. We're going to need it.
You brought up another point. It's very, and I tell people this, it's very difficult to begin to build a belief system when you're in the midst of a storm.
Hmm.
It's virtually impossible. I don't know very many who can do it. They can be done.
Hmm.
But most people are not that disciplined.
Though, what on the opposite end of that, I've seen sometimes the storm needs to come for them to finally decide to step into what they were really meant to become.
And that's a risk.
Oh, for sure.
And it goes right into the
Yeah.
title of our theme is that
Yeah.
belief systems, when you really think about it, Trina, are a risk.
Hmm. Yeah.
I've been burned by it
Yeah.
many
Well,
times.
yeah, it is. But it's like when you get down to the core of it, even though you were looking at a deity and giving your power away to a deity through that desire and love to want to know God, you came to the truth. So
Yeah, yeah.
without that step, you would have never climbed up the ladder to the to the layers of which now you've risen. All of it, I think, is necessary for our soul to get back to find itself.
But that requires a risk. It requires
I think this
primarily
whole birth process is a
a
risk.
risk. It is. I'm telling you, I think we roll the dice as we go
I
in.
totally do.
It's
I
like,
totally do.
come on, bare bones. But
I
anyway,
do. I think it's like, oh man, it's like, coming in, you're like, things can go really, really wrong down there. It's like,
and
yeah,
they do, and
I
they
know.
do, they really do. Um,
Yes, 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 yes.
and
But that's, the polarity. We have to have all the experiences for the experience to work. So
I guess that's why I've
some,
been an entrepreneur all my life.
yeah, and I think some people
Yeah,
literally had to come to be the villain. They
yeah,
had to.
yeah.
It's like part of their deal. They have to. It's
Then I
like
think there's those of us who are just spiritual adrenaline junkies. We love the thrill of the challenge, the risk.
oh, I think we got a huge codependency issue and we love to save the world.
You know.
I
Well, that may be true. I often
do.
wonder
I think they're
now.
like, want to save a world? We're like, all right, we'll go.
And
They're like, no, you don't understand. This is gonna be really hard. You're like, yeah, what? You know what? I think we can do it.
I like I said, I don't know what actually awaits over there. I mean, obviously, if you continue to listen to what they want to tell you, many people are going to be visiting there. Well, I
Uh-huh.
guess it's not a visit. Well, is it a visit or is it a destination?
I think it's both.
Destination and a visit. I'm
Yeah.
just passing through. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
really do. I think that might be the way it goes. Yeah. Because yeah, I think as soul, we're constantly evolving. And I really do think the soul's path or journey might be associated as to where you are in the body. And we might have come in through the crown and we've descended all the way down through the body. And now we're getting ready to come back up.
I want to do like ML does in his family. I want to take this body with me.
Hmm.
Um,
See, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go that route because I've seen other bodies of myself that are much larger, much more powerful, and much smarter, and much more equipped. I've seen all the way to the angelic realms of my templates. I think those are way better bodies. So
maybe you know,
this
and
is like a little ant. So yeah, that's just what I've seen. So I'm like, yeah, yeah, I'm going up that way. Yeah, I've seen way bigger. I've seen beings that hold the earth in their hands like a golf ball. So this is where we come from. We come from all potential.
but I could easily have this body to be, you know, the size of a solar system.
Absolutely.
So I still love this body. I think
I
it's
love
pretty
this
groovy.
body. I think this is a really good little body.
You
I like it.
know, I continue to have great manifestations on this whole aspect, and I love the Sante Sante Sante. That really, folks, really works in
Yes.
meditation. Try it sometimes.
Yes, it does.
Well,
I
who
used
knows?
to do a meditation. It was a song. Who sings it? Diva Primal.
I
She
don't.
does a lot of chanting with these ancient words like this,
Mm-hmm.
Om Santi Santi, and then she does Om Madhade Padme. Uh, a lot, and the way she does it is just beautiful. A lot of people might really enjoy that, especially to get into the meditation vibe. The frequencies just beautiful.
I think that's cool. I often ask people who. So let me ask the group. I've seen we have an active chat room in here. Is that okay? So then describe to me your spirit if you think that this body is just merely meant for here.
Spirits unseen, eternal.
Yeah, but the spirit has to have essence to it or it wouldn't exist.
I think that's the soul.
You see, I disagree with you on that, but that's where, you know, we see things a little differently because I see
Yeah,
the
because I
soul
see the
as,
blending. I see the blending, and that blending is what makes the I am. But it comes spirit and soul, and they collide, and it produces construct in that spirals. I've just seen that's how it was shown to me. It was all done in light and energy and sound and darkness, and then it funnels down. It's a crazy process of what I was shown. But like I
and you
said, it's
see,
just from my understanding, I guess. To
yeah,
understand.
I
Yeah.
wrote to someone today. I said, you know, because they were saying, well, they heard from God. And I said, let me just stop you there.
Hmm.
You heard from God. I didn't hear from God. The rest of us didn't hear from God.
Hmm.
And many times when we have visions like you were seeing,
Hmm.
that ministers to you,
Hmm.
but it's for myself. I see consciousness is trumping everything.
That's what I see as the spirit. Or I mean, this,
Yeah.
yeah, the spirit is consciousness. It's mind. It's
Yeah.
thought. Yeah, but and then it hits matter, and the matter is kind of like the brain. So it's the templates. It puts things in their spots.
See?
That's just kind of how yeah, but it's the
Yeah.
same concept. We have exactly the same concept, just different
Yeah.
terminology. That's
Just
the
different
beautiful,
terminology. Yeah.
yeah,
Because,
that's a beautiful thing. It's like when you get rid of the details and you look at the bigger
yeah.
picture, it's like, oh, we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, you know, when we pass on from this life, and the masters are saying that it really isn't that different.
No, that's what I've seen. It's like waking up from a dream, going into
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
reality. You know, like when you wake up in the morning, you're like, what day is it? Where am I? It's the same thing. You're just going to wake up.
So I've been meditating on this. The reason why most cannot come back, they
Hmm.
were never taught and they were never disciplined. I
Hmm.
believe that the challenge on the other side to interface with the physical plane requires the teaching that we're learning now.
I think too that they get brought into the tunnel of light and they get brain wiped and they get reincarnated right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
So the
So
ones who don't fall into that trap, I think you have the ability to manifest if you needed to. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
I saw my dead babysitter manifest in front of me 3 months after his death. So I know that this can happen because I've seen it with my own eyes, and I
Now,
was
was
10
that
years old.
person, were they tangible? Were they, would you say
Tangible.
consciously aware?
He had been dead for 3 months, and he was literally standing in my hallway. And when I saw him, I was used to seeing him in my hallway my whole life. So at first I
Hmm.
didn't realize he was dead. But then I started to walk towards him and I realized, whoa, you're dead. And then I went into total freak out mode, terror. And then he looked at me and he tilted his head and he just held up his hand and he waved like he knew I was scared, and it made him sad. And he
You see,
disappeared.
yeah.
Yep.
It's the whole thing that if ghosts exist, and apparently our
Oh,
technology is getting better, we know they do.
yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'm convinced that they never record a happy ghost. It's
oh,
only the
he was
ones that seem to
happy.
be in torment and in injecting fear.
I had contact with spirits when I was growing up as a kid, and we had a couple on the property that were totally happy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what my point. I mean, I'd love to see in one of these shows that they would show a happy spirit.
Yeah, I've seen happy spirits. They play
Yeah.
basketball and stuff. They just play. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and
Uh-huh.
I think that's what we caught. The best one I saw, the example of that is that they were showing a Friday night high school football game. And the
Hmm.
camera was showing out there, and the cheerleaders were, you know, doing their cheerleading.
Mm-hmm.
And off to the side comes this ghost, this
Hmm.
spirit in track gear running across the track where they were playing, the football game. Everyone knows how high
Right
school.
on.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
so that's, when I look at it now and I'm going, well, now you see, that person is living apparently the part of their life. They were a track star.
Yeah.
Didn't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a teenage boy, and his name was Chris, and he said he died in a car accident. And then he literally showed us where the car was. It was still in the wash.
See, I believe that.
Yeah.
I
So,
tell
and he was friendly. He was not bad at all. He was very, very, very fun. He was like 18 or 19 years old. He was like, I think he was turning 19. So he was still 18. But yeah, he always had on a striped shirt. Sometimes it'd be different colors, but he always had on, because we would catch him in the peripheral,
hmm.
then you'd look and it'd be gone. But my brother would see him. I mean, all of us would see him. So yeah, he would show himself kind of a lot.
Well, my aunt, who was hit by a car on Christmas Eve, 1960,
Hmm.
you know, came into my brother and I shared a bedroom. We had bunk beds, but woke me up and spoke to me, and I still remember the conversation, and she kissed my forehead and was gone.
Yep.
But she had already died at the scene.
Yep. Yep.
So
I've
it
heard of
goes
that.
to show you that how you can really see for her.
Hmm.
I guess I was important enough that in the midst of that tragedy, she wanted to come in and reassure me. And, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I've heard stories of that. I have a friend of mine too, the same thing. It was like they knew exactly when their grandfather had passed, just weird stuff. Like, they just say, grandma just passed, or grandpa they just know. They just know. And then other people too, they say that they actually showed up in their rooms at the foot of their bed and talked to them, and they were already passed.
I tell this story all the time, and it's true. And I got my
I know.
wife's permission. She is the head of nursing for a retirement home,
Hmm.
and they have a cat.
Yep.
And apparently, this is very common in lots of nursing homes. And their cat does the same thing. When the person is ready to depart, that cat goes into their room and stays in there until the moment of their passing.
So
It's
amazing.
it's amazing.
It's like they can see the reapers.
Yeah, well, I asked my wife on this
And I
that
don't think reapers are bad. People have,
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
they, yeah,
yeah, because most people see the sickle coming through.
yeah, and I'm like, that's not
Yeah.
what I see. And the sickle would only be to sever the cord.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
and
all it
we
would
call
be.
that the paraspirit.
Yeah, and it wouldn't
Yeah,
be to hurt you, it would be to release you.
yeah.
So
A lot
yeah,
of
I don't see reapers as being bad at all.
Go back and look at some of the past shows, folks. On I taught on the whole thing that the paraspirit's what between your
Yeah,
spirit and your body.
yes.
But I've asked Lynn this several times, and the vast majority pass peacefully.
Yeah,
Uh, she does have occasionally those poor souls that are so frightened of death
yeah.
that they literally pass in fear.
That's so sad.
It is sad because as she now knows that, you pass in that state of mind, and it's not going to be pretty for the first little bit.
No.
Someone to me talking about the cats that yes, they do. They have this strange ability. I don't hear many stories about dogs, but I have heard that dogs also have the same sensitivity, but
You know
cats.
what's so weird? What I seen when you just said that, I see that the paraspirit, how you were talking
Mhm.
about that, I see that it fills the whole body. And right before death, I see that it starts to shrink in the body until it gets right left into the very, very center of the body. And I think that's what you see, that 2.5 or grams or whatever of water that leaves the body. I think that's a paraspirit. And I think the cat can see the energy field going in.
Yeah, I think
I
that
just saw.
and apparently there are those with some that are waiting for him. She has told stories that um, individuals have seen family members waiting for him.
I've seen older people, especially too, some of the ones that had dementia, but not the really advanced dementia. But when they were passing, they were talking to their brothers. And then when you'd wake them up to eat and stuff, they'd get mad. They'd be like, I was meeting with Nana. And they were like, leave me alone, because they were with the other family.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, they were mad. They were like, "Leave me alone," because yeah, they were real happy where they were at, and you just took them out of their other reality. And oh yeah,
Well, they're obviously as hearing the stories, I have learned that the separation process can be quick or it can be excruciatingly long.
I think
And
that's due to the connection you have with this world.
yeah, I guess that would make sense. I mean,
Yeah,
and I've asked her about this, and of course, she works where death is ever present.
yeah.
They lost 19 residents in a matter of 4 months. And oddly enough, around the world, there seemed to be a great exodus between the months of August and January of this year.
Yes.
I don't know why, but and it's just so interesting. I mean, when I think about it, it's like, okay,
And my grandma passed November this year.
November of this year, of 19.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. How was her passing?
I think my mom was holding her here.
That
So
can happen. That can
I
literally
know,
happen.
and
Yeah,
like I said, my mom got
yeah.
me in here, so I could totally see how could she could have the power to hold my grandma look back a little bit. Yeah, so I think my mom was holding her here because literally, my mom left to go take a shower. She hadn't left her bed, so my mom left to go home, take a shower, and come back. My grandma left, and that's
In that
that
period of
moment.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like I think my mom's
yeah,
kind of powerful that way.
yeah.
So
I
yeah,
remember Kenneth Hagin telling a story that he had been called to a hospital and a farmer, the tractor had fallen on him. And he was a close friend of Kenneth Hagin's and the family. And anyway, uh, Hagin prayed, said, I'm just, and he literally said, I'm not leaving, I'm not letting him go.
mhm,
And had the people, they were all focused, not letting them go.
yep,
So about 12 hours later, Kenneth Hagin was standing there and the guy got consciousness. And he looked at Hagen and he said, would you quit praying for me? Damn it.
Mhm.
He says, I want to go.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yep.
I
Yep.
want to go, you
Yep.
know? So
I'm telling you, I've seen that with my own eyes, and I saw my mom pray me into my body, and I'm pretty sure that's what was going on with my grandma.
I happen to think it's true. I
I
think
do
that,
too.
you, and you
I'm glad
see,
you saw that too, Wayne, because I was like, is that yeah? But
yeah,
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 now that's
yeah,
confirmation. See, thank
yeah.
you. You always confirm for me. I love
Well, I
I
enjoy
love
Tuesdays. I mean, it's Trina Day. So,
it's like confirmation day for me. It's like, oh, I love the brain bouncing because it's like, it's like growing up too and seeing all that stuff. It's like, oh, really? Come on. Nobody else was. I
yeah.
mean, but thank God the activity around my house was so powerful that even the other kids did too. So it was kind of good that way. So yeah.
And the thing that when I get with our shows all the time, if we could just re re-educate, reteach
Mhm,
the new souls coming into this world.
mhm.
I don't see it happening in this particular stint.
I did see that happening after the transitions. I saw people teaching children out in open fields and running through the fields. I saw amazing things with education. It was very, very
Mm.
different.
I just saw in my spirit that I see the children teaching the adults.
They were. You're right. That's what it was. The
Yeah, that's
kids
what I
would show
saw.
us what
Yeah.
they needed to learn, and we would teach them, but they would be the guidance of what they were to be taught.
Mm.
Yeah. And then the masters, that's when they show up, and these little magis are just going to start flying and levitating and healing. And oh gosh.
And the reason why I'm laughing is that, the master said, be you as a child,
Yes.
but out of the mouths of babes.
Yeah.
And how interesting, Trina, that
Yes.
I do believe the day will come where the
Yeah.
children will have the wisdom.
Because they believe.
Yeah, yeah,
And they'll make
exactly.
us believe by what they
Mm,
can do. They
mm,
are the savior. Yeah, it's the children,
wow.
the
Mm,
children.
mm, mm.
And those of us who can connect to our inner child, we're going to be in resonance with that too.
I believe that. And I've read the stories of in the Hindu culture of many of the prodigies of children coming into the villages and having just enormous wisdom.
Yes.
Yes.
They're born, they
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah,
They
they
remember the
do.
magnificence of their soul. They know what they are. Yeah.
The thing that I spend time deprogramming myself because the
Mhm.
indoctrination I had through Christianity and the Bible really makes you a bigot.
Yeah.
And as I'm trying to tell people, religion in its basis is racist. If we could just do away with the religion and say, Trina, isn't God great?
Right.
You would say, yeah, all the
Uh-huh.
time. I go, yeah, I can dig that.
Yeah.
And you and
But
I could
can't everybody
simply,
just agree God is good? Good. G-O-D.
yeah,
Good.
yeah,
God. Okay,
yeah,
that's it. That's all we need to know.
yeah.
If you're doing good, you're doing God's work. That's
And
it.
that's what ML said.
Yes. And that's it.
Yes. What
That's simple.
once
Keep
you
it
do the
simple. Yes.
will,
Keep it simple.
keep it simple.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we talk about.
Yeah. That's what Kelly
Okay.
says. You keep it simple. I mean, okay, I'll keep it simple.
Okay, yeah,
Keep it
yeah, yeah.
simple. God is good. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
I got God is good. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
think agape love always and forever says, my granddaughter at 7, she tells me amazing things when I ask her questions. I bet. I
Oh,
bet.
write them down. When she's a teenager and she's having a meltdown, say, look what you told me when you were 7 years old. Would you
Mm.
snap out of it and get back to who you really are? That's powerful right there. Write those things down. Be the
I
greatest gift you ever give her when she's in times of trouble or self-doubt. Show her the wisdom that poured forth from her mouth at the age of
Yeah.
8.
Yeah. She'll say, who said that? You
You
did.
did.
You did. When we talk like that, and then I keep on, I quote this because I'm beginning to memorize it now. It says, truly divine love in demonstration is eternal youth.
It is.
I love
'Cause it
this.
makes you
I mean,
vibrate at a whole different rate. That's why these masters don't age.
yeah, yeah. And apparently we can choose
Yeah.
our age,
Yeah, I do believe that.
you know.
I do.
I think that, I was one cute kid at 10 years old. Are you
Mhm.
kidding me? I mean,
Wayne, the weirdest thing is like this information that's all coming out. My whole life when I would go see the Lord, I was always in the body of a child.
yeah,
Always.
see,
We
see.
commune in my child state. That
Hmm.
go to commune with that part of myself.
Hmm. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Listen, I've heard expressions say that growing old sucks. That's wrong.
No, you
If
don't ever grow old. You only grow what you think.
Yes, and it is a gift.
Yeah.
If you get to listen, in my lifetime, I've seen a lot of people pass way before me,
Yeah.
and I'm going to continue on. But it's an amazing thing. Someone said you're still kid. Well, thank you, Nancy. That just brought joy to my life.
Absolutely.
But growing old, I am
Mhm.
finding is a precious gift. You know what? Go ahead. You were going to say something.
I think that's so true. I was thinking about that this morning. I'm like, wow, my daughter's been through like 2 decades of life and I'm on my 5th. I'm like, every single one of those cycles I went through, like it felt like a whole incarnation
It
of
was.
learning and experiences and the different stages of life. And I'm like, what a grand novel. It's just profound. And I wouldn't want to go back to begin over again. Oh gosh, no. Because boy, you can make a lot of wrong turns.
No, no.
So
Hey, Milky, you have a good one, buddy. Is he on tonight?
yes, I think
Okay,
so.
and you're going to be
Much
with him,
love,
right?
Milton. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, so 8 o'clock, 10 p.m. East
Yes,
Coast.
I
All
think you're
right,
correct.
y'all
Yes.
get over there and see that. But to finish that thought up, I mean, it is something. I'll tell you what I have found that I appreciate most about growing gracefully as I
Mhm.
proceed, and that is I've had opportunity to change my mind.
That's what I mean. There's so much you learn. It's like, oh man, I was so clueless. And now I've been able to obtain so much information and so much knowledge, and I'm actually able to have more control over
Yeah.
my being and my
Mm.
emotions through the ability to connect to wisdom and inspiration and knowledge. And it just changes you. And then to bring the wisdom of knowing that this is all coming from within me, that was a whole nother layer of breaking programs and restructuring thought and restructuring emotions. It's like you're rebuilding your temple.
You literally are. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I give thanks to the all for
Mhm.
allowing me because I'm a much more smooth. It's like an
Mhm.
aged wine. It hits the palate and it's just that bouquet.
Mhm.
That's how I see myself as a bouquet.
Me too.
As many different colors, of flowers as there can be.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's like a diamond, every way you look at it, it's flashing different colors of light and
Mm,
different hues of that light,
mm.
and that's all from
We're all diamonds, and the great thing
yeah,
about diamonds, they come in many, many different colors. Love you too, Brian. Keep
yes,
yourself
yes,
well, buddy.
yes.
And watch those tacks.
I know.
Do you get the point?
Yeah, right?
He's probably saying, you smart ass. Yeah, I got the point. Right in my damn
I
foot.
can't wait. Has his toes talking to him currently. Yes, 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 the toes talking, I'm sure.
Just a
Sort
little
of like
bit.
it said where you stub your toe, the whole world goes straight to your toe. Yeah,
Oh
Brian's talking
man.
to his toe right now.
I know he must be. I mean,
Send
and
healing to Brian's toe,
yes, we
everybody.
speak healing to withdraw out
Yes,
that infection.
yes.
How many of us have broken a little toe?
Oh,
Does
I
that
did.
hurt? Does that
Oh,
hurt? I
Oh,
mean,
oh, went
yeah.
down spine so bad, the bone floated down the side of my foot, and they took an X-ray.
Oh,
It was down the side of my foot, and I was freaking out. I'm like, "How are you going to put that back?" And they're like, "We don't." I was like, "What?" They're like, "It goes back on its own." I was like, "Oh, hold the phone. It's down the side of my foot." They're like, "No, it will go back." It went back.
it's amazing, isn't it?
I couldn't believe it. I was like, "Oh, look at how smart these little bodies are." That was one of my first
It's
really profound awarenesses of how intelligent our body was. I was in 6th grade. We were playing crab soccer, barefoot soccer, on your feet, and you crawl around. And we kicked each other's foot at the same exact time, and it snapped my pinky toe in half.
whew.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that hurt.
I played junior varsity football, and I was a back. And um, I'll show you how far my football career went. I went up to catch the ball, and the quarterback had thrown it so hard that when it hit this finger, it went that.
Oh,
Oh man, knocked me out. The pain did. It hit so hard, but holy crap.
oh, oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, I don't like this anymore. I figured like this, I figured, you know what, being a hippie is far better than this.
That's right. You're like, this kind of pain is real intense. Yeah.
Woo! Oh man.
Mhm. Sharp
Uh,
stabbing fire. Yeah.
uh,
No fun.
this hour is just, I mean, it's
It
done and
flies.
over with. Yeah, it's over. I
It
mean,
flies.
well, monkey experiment, thank you. uh, I'm still cool in her kids' book. I love it. That's what
Mhm.
counts. And we got a great group here.
Yeah. And no,
Yeah.
guys, we can heal. I've seen amazing, amazing things. And I think right now it's like this is the time to start perfecting, trying to learn new talents,
Yep.
quantum touch. I mean, the simplest things, stuck at home with your family, start running energies with your hands, start playing with these energies, start playing with the power of meditation, affirmation, reprogramming your own brain. Start playing with these things, start getting creative, doing art, do whatever you can to add some positive healing mojo into this world. So, whatever it is that you're drawn to or you wish to learn or experience, that if you have time, take it, bathe in,
We
enjoy.
are cool people. I agree. And listen, I color Mandelas.
Oh,
I re-
I love to color.
yeah, so do I. And I know Brian. I
I do
think
too.
Brian said that as well. That he does he color as well?
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, you
I
really
love it.
should. People love your dress, by the way.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you.
very very stylish. You
Thank
know. Yes. The wardrobe is provided by.
This is
uh,
my mom, I think, at Costco.
see, it works. Now you can't even get into Costco. I mean,
All right. Back when we could shop and didn't
it's
have to worry
just
about social
nuts.
distancing. Yes,
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Well, Miss Trina, it's been fun. Always is,
absolutely.
dear.
Always.
You're going to be on tonight, and
Mhm.
okay. And as I'll just quote Brian over at Milky Way Messengers: "Be the frequency you want to be."
Ah,
Yeah,
yes.
they can't touch
That's
us.
the key. That is our greatest
Mhm.
power and our greatest source of magic.
It is. It truly
Mhm.
is, and
We
you know,
bring about what we feel about.
and it's
So
true.
when the
Mhm.
matrix starts coming and crashing down on fear, know that everything's going to be okay and that we can be the calm in the storm because
As
we
I'm
can hold a better frequency and it'll cancel out 30,000 in utter sheer terror.
And as the song in my head is singing, you can't take that away.
No, you
So that's how we'll go out. Miss Trina, thank you, my dear.
can't.
Everyone, go over there. If you're not subscribed to her, do the same thing with Brian and all the rest of y'all. Thank you, moderators. Make sure you're subscribed here because apparently YouTube is jacking with us, but that's okay. We love them. We just speak favor to them. They're
Yeah,
people. They're our brothers and sisters.
yeah.
They may be far distant brothers and sisters. They're still there. Uh,
Yeah.
you want to take us out? What's the last word, Miss Trina?
Oh, just let your heart beat and be calm and be the strength and be the change that we're all wanting to see and be to this world. And it's going to happen through love. And that love comes through just being calm, being peace. We can
Yeah,
do this, guys. We can. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, folks, be good. We will talk to you tomorrow. All right. They